the ones from where my side yard are ready for this stuff.
I'm ready when. We're on. Okay. Ready? Go ahead. Okay. Mrs. Keller?
Here.
Vice Mayor Schaefer?
Here.
Mayor Riggle?
Here. And at this time, we'll have election of officers.
I nominate, are we doing vice chair first or chair?
Do chair first.
Okay, I nominate Vice Mayor Schaefer to be the chair of the Public Works Public Utilities Committee.
Nice. Second that.
Mrs. Keller?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Schaefer?
Yes.
Mayor Riggle?
Yes. And I nominate Mrs. Keller for vice chair.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Keller?
Yes.
Mayor Riggle?
Yes.
Chairman Schaefer?
Yes. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Item 3 is approval of the motion summary of the Public Works Public Utilities Committee meeting held September 1st, 2015. Is there a motion?
I go, I'm looking for the motion to approve it.
So moved, or sorry, I'm thrown off here. Aren't you supposed to read it into the record?
I can. Would you like me to?
You just did.
You just, okay, so who made
I
the
made the
motion?
motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mayor Riggle, second by Mrs. Keller. Roll call, please.
Mayor Riggle?
Yes.
Vice Chairwoman Keller?
Yes.
Chairman Schaefer?
Yes. It's approved. Next section of the meeting is for public comments on anything that is not on tonight's agenda. Do we have anyone who'd like to come forward and make comments tonight?
Can't hear him. He's saying he can't hear. Talk louder.
Yeah,
Okay, this-
some of the people can't hear it, yeah.
Okay, this is the public comment section of the meeting tonight. If anyone would like to make comments on anything that's not on tonight's agenda, you're welcome to come forward and do so now. Is there anyone who'd like to make comments on anything that's not on tonight's agenda? Seeing none, we'll move on to item number 5, which is an update on the AMI program.
Thank you very much. I'd just like to give a brief update on the AMI project. We discussed this during the CIP and the budget presentations. Linda passed out just the bullets of what's transpired over the past year with our AMI project, including an update that city staff took to Maumee, Ohio in December that has implemented the same type of AMI system that the city proposes to implement this year. Their Mueller system started in 2013, and you can see on the second page the highlights from our meeting with Maumee that was very positive, and they're very pleased with their Mueller AMI system. On the first page, you just see that we went through the AMI functional assessment study back in June. That report is attached to your handout. From there, we went on to the request for proposals that was prepared by CH2M Hill, our consultant during the AMI process. Based on the request for proposals, we had the following the 8 vendors that submitted to us for those for our AMI system. CH2M Hill and the city AMI committee then shortlisted 4 of the vendors, Mueller, Census, Badger, and Zenner, to provide us with on-site presentations to discuss the request for proposals. We then selected Mueller System as our preferred vendor. They provided a cost proposal. You see that cost proposal at a little over $1.6 million for the 12,000 meter system that we propose to implement this year. City staff and the consultant then provided the city manager a recommendation letter based on those that evaluation. We had Mueller Systems. In December, city staff and CH2 Hill sat down with Mueller Systems, and we discussed the contract and what we proposed to put in the installment agreement and the perpetual contract, including a warranty. That item is that draft contract is now being prepared by CH2M Hill. We hope to get that back this week for city council, city manager, and city staff to review. Once we review that and make any changes if necessary, we hope to have the contract signed and approved by the city manager and city council in February and start the implementation of the AMI system in March. Ahead of that implementation, we will be providing public notice, different types of notifications and press releases to make the public and our customers aware of the implementation process, and be able to schedule at least 1-2 open houses to go through the AMI process and how it will, how the city will implement it and what the advantages are for our city residents. I'll be happy to answer any questions now, or if you want to email me or call me and we can discuss it further.
House February?
We hope to have them in February, once we get the draft contract back and we can review it. Mueller Systems has already agreed to provide us with YouTube videos. We're working with them on providing us public information that we can send out either with our utility bills, put on the city's website, so that the residents are made aware of that. They also have agreed to attend probably March 1st Friday and set up a booth, and so that they can have their videos and their information out during that first Friday, and they will be happy to come back.
Do we have any information regarding how the Mueller system works specifically?
Perry, do you want to?
Yeah, I mean, the Mueller system is a hybrid star network, so.
I got the evil eye from your leg, so sorry.
Well, I said you got.
I get the evil, I get the evil messages.
Before you start, you don't have to tell me all of it now,
Yeah.
but will we get a report?
Yeah, we can show you the, what they would call the promulgation study. Also the topo network that we would show. In our Maumee visit, they showed us their network, and basically what would happen is let's just take a subdivision. Those meter readings would go up to a radio, like it would be mounted on a stop sign or something like that, and then it would go up to the collector from there. And that's how that would work as far as that network.
So they're not repeaters?
There are repeaters, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Meter to repeater
But each-
to collector.
There's 3 collectors and 28 repeaters.
Yeah, actually five collectors.
5 collectors
Yeah.
and 28 repeaters.
Okay. But the way that the other system worked, it was
Meter to meter.
meter to, it's not that?
No.
Okay.
And one thing, Lisa, that there'll be a customer web portal that people can access to see their usage on a daily basis. And they can set up their own alerts if they only want to use
Budget.
budget, or based on dollar amount or on gallons or 100 cubic feet. If they see that their usage is starting to get near that alert, then it will send them a message saying, hey, you might have a leak or
And that comes with their,
Package, yeah.
package.
that's
Same thing
handy.
with, small leaks. You'll get they can set it up for a small leak indication. They can set it up for a burst pipe indication. And these are all sent out by email or text. And just like with anything else, you can set limits. So then once you start getting close to that threshold, no different than you probably see with your data packages on your cell phone, you'll start getting, your 50%, your 75, your 90, things like that for your budget.
So we can call them by extra, right?
Yeah, no, there's no
Just kidding.
extra water like data.
Then the other question I had was just regarding the data security, and I saw in here that That was something that the vendor could specifically address.
It's an encrypted system. It's 32-bit, I believe.
No, 128.
128, okay. Sorry.
It's all right.
Barry's got the inside
Yeah.
knowledge.
But they don't manage that data. Do they send that out to? a
No,
third-
that comes back to them, and they have their database. The only thing that they will have is meter numbers and readings. They won't have any of our customers' account information. Then when we go through that process to send out the billing, that's when we go retrieve the readings, bring them into our side or on our side of the firewall, and then they're brought together. Kind of similar to the way we do it now, except it's all that information is stored in the handheld.
Mueller is going to host the data and then send it
That's
to us.
what,
Yeah.
so they don't send that data out to be hosted by someone else?
No,
Okay.
no third party. It's still Mueller.
So we'll get some kind of report on how all this works?
All right,
Okay,
we'll provide that as part of the contract that you can get the review.
okay, just to satisfy my own
I mean,
curiosity.
right now, I can scan and email you the actual proposal that they talk about how the system will work and everything, if you're interested in seeing that.
Is it a lot?
It's 50 pages.
No, you don't have to.
I can send you the highlights of it. so
Okay,
this-
sure. Okay,
Released?
Thanks,
You're released.
Brad.
Thank you.
Item number 6, review of the Safe Walks program.
I'll take that one, Mr. Schaefer. If I could, I would like to propose we revise it to a quick update instead of reviewing the whole program, unless it's your desire to review the whole program. Some of these items are on here because they're continuations of past discussions with the past commission, so might be a little bit of a adjusting as we go through the agenda on how thorough we are on certain topics. I did hand out a map, the legendary SafeWalks map, and you'll see that there's two colors of note, green and the reddish color. The green represents the area of the city that was initially evaluated last year and will be under construction either by private contractors or the city's contractor this year. And the area in the red or the orangish red will be evaluated this year and will be complete in 17, which will complete one pass through the entire city, finally. We program initiated in 2006. We are on schedule. We thought it might take 10 years or so to get through the city. We're excited to finish up the first round. As part of the process, as some of you may know, when markings are challenged or there's not an agreement between the homeowner and city staff on whose responsibility it is to repair the walk, the process is that we invite residents to this meeting to state their case and provide reasons why they think that our decision should be overturned. And with that, I think we have 7 formal appeals tonight. I propose that we talk about 6 of them together on Eastwood. 6 of them are Eastwood Avenue, and then talk about the last one separately in the interest of expediting the meeting.
Okay. Sounds good to me.
Okay.
I'll continue in if you're.
Yeah, and Marion's here to give a little bit more detail on what's going on in Eastwood.
So those 6 addresses on Eastwood, like I said, since the similarities in the, unless the residents want to individually do this, I mean, I know that they are very similar in their assessment or what they feel is, what is right on their end of things. But I do want to give a little bit of background. All 6 of those properties were evaluated on June 1st, 2015. Each one I will kind of go through just separately real quick because there are different dollar amounts because of the number of panels or number of sections, sidewalk squares. First off, 269 Eastwood Avenue is 1 panel, approximately 25 square feet, and would cost approximately $275. and that's Kenneth Gale, and I believe he's not here.
He's not here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, he did have a written statement, so it's within the packet there if you want to see his individual. Then I'll go on to 277 Eastwood Avenue. There are 3 sections on this property, approximately 85 square feet and approximately a cost of $935. And it's Carl and Tammy Rouse.
And if I may interrupt real quick, Marion, the costs that we're quoting here are estimates based on what we think it would cost if a city contractor came in and did the work.
Next up is 278 Eastwood Avenue, and that property, there are 2 panels on that one, approximately 50 square feet, and at a cost of approximately $550, and that's Alan and Tina Thomas. And then next up is 294 Eastwood Avenue, which has 2 sections at approximately 50 square feet, and approximately $550 on that one, and that's Todd and Molly Howard. And next one after that is 302 Eastwood Avenue. There's just 1 panel on that property, approximately 25 square feet, and at a cost of approximately $275. And lastly on Eastwood, but not least, is 309 Eastwood, and that one has approximately 3 panels of 75 square feet at approximately $925. And that one is Doug Hampton and Carol Hampton. If those property owners would like to state their case now, or if there's any questions I should ask from the committee, first of all, on these properties? No?
Any questions before we
Guys, I don't know how you want to present it.
Well, I've got pictures here.
For everybody that's going to speak, we'll need you to sit down and state your name and address for the record.
My name's Carl Ross, and I live at 277 Eastwood Avenue. And I also represent Kenny Gale. And we feel that because the storm sewer wasn't properly fixed, they just fixed it back in 2014, and the sidewalks floated. That's the reasoning for the crumbling, the lifting, and everything else. And we've got evidence here to prove it. I'll hand you the pictures if you want to go over them.
Thank you.
This is just from a couple of years. It's happened about 5 times since I've lived there in '89. We feel the city ought to replace the sidewalks for the simple fact we had no storm sewer to begin with. Anytime you get water underneath concrete and it floats, it's going to rise. Even though it's heavy, it still will rise. The city's been down there pumping out 2 basements because of the floods. They also pumped out from the corner Eastwood Avenue over to Greif Brothers at that time, where Dempsey was, to get the water down, because it's hard to get water to run uphill when that's how the storm sewers work there. They go from south to north.
You guys shed any light on that?
I've spoken with staff that have been here a lot longer than I have. One person's here tonight.
He can verify it. He was there pumping it out when it first
That
happened.
it did happen. From my perspective, I definitely see infrastructure in the neighborhood that's designed to different standards than are designed today. That's obvious. It was decades ago when it was designed and built. I do know that.
Could I make a note on this?
Sure.
It's a sidewalk to nowhere. It does not connect to Eastwood, Pennsylvania. It does not connect to Troy Road. It's a sidewalk to nowhere.
We've lost my train of thought there for a second. I'm sorry. We definitely recognize, and we know that it's designed and built to a different standard. We are, as staff, we do want to make sure we emphasize that there's been a lot of city resources put into the area in recent years to help alleviate some of the flooding problems. We hope that the frequency will be nothing near that it was before. But if you're asking our opinion on the situation, it's the flooding is, I don't want to sound like an insurance agent, but it's an act of God. It's not something that's a city tree root upheaval situation that we see a lot of our past appeals that have come through. And those are the ones where we take on most of the city responsibility. So this is a little unique request. In the past, I don't know, Mary, if you'd agree. It's a unique appeal request, so there's really no precedence that we can go back to and help give you some guidance or recommendation. But it really comes down to, if you wanted to reverse staff's stance on it, we would just want to make sure that you're aware it's be setting quite a precedence with it being tied to an act of God, like a flooding
It's
event.
tied to an act of God, but if there's no sewer, that's a different story.
That's not the act of God.
And the railroad.
And the
The
railroad,
water runs right along the railroad and comes under my backyard.
We'll carry out,
I'm just throwing that out there.
we'll carry out whatever decision this committee, and we'll do it with enthusiasm
Is the issue
and
with all the sidewalks on Eastwood, is it all a result of this flooding?
yes, it is.
That's why I kind of lumped them together. That's correct.
A lot of them,
I have to fix my driveway.
And we're gonna have to ask you to come up here to the microphone because we have to record this. We can maybe hear, but we have to record this since this is a public meeting, so we want to make sure that everyone's input gets recorded.
I can say, absent of the flooding, I can say with confidence that some of the sidewalks would have failed over time. So my last bit of input is, how do you decipher which ones would have failed anyways? That's impossible to know. So.
I never
Can you
seen,
state your name and address for us, please?
what?
Your name and address, please.
Mildred Cook, 302 Eastwood. And I had to, after that, all the floods, we had them a couple of different times. And I had to have somebody come in and redo the approach to my driveway and then my driveways. And it was all from the water that came, like pictures there where I'm standing in the middle of it. And so I don't feel like I should have to do this myself. I'm an 83-year-old woman and I don't have that much money. So that's my complaint.
I've also done my driveway. It's
You can't talk unless you cover the microphone, sorry. Sorry.
I'm sorry, what?
Sorry.
Todd Howard, 294 Eastwood Avenue.
I'm sorry, it didn't pick it up. If you can, I know, I'm sorry.
Todd Howard, 294 Eastwood Avenue. Just a couple of things to your statements. We can agree that there's been flooding problems. We can agree that the city's put several resources, man hours, and money into the area, right? I mean, you said that.
Yes.
So can we agree that that happened primarily in the summer of 2014?
That's where I would need Perry to confirm. He's our utility department representative.
So-
There's microphones up here too, Perry.
Yeah, I know. No, like, Matt was saying, and we talked earlier this morning, in 93, I believe that's Carl's photos were 93, right, Carl?
Right, yeah.
I was up there. Like I said, we had the fire trucks up there. We had their floating pumps. We were pumping it across Pennsylvania Avenue because what has happened from the northwest there, the water coming out of the Wise Wickham area, come across Troy Road and basically flooded the area. The culvert underneath, at that time, the culvert underneath the railroad had gotten blocked up with all the debris and things like that. But like with what Carl was saying, when I was there at his property, at his neighbors south of him, who was John.
269 Eastwood.
269.
Yeah, Mr. Gale's property. And then a property and a building actually that's no longer there where the dentist office is at, or the orthodontist. I physically walked across those sidewalks, and you could actually feel them floating, okay? Also in the house that's no longer there, actually would go in his garage as well. Yeah, Lauer's house.
Where the dentist office is now.
Yeah, and his was floating, and that was in '93. So then after that, I know of the 2014, I wasn't there, so I can't speak to that. But there was 2 other times, one time in '04, I believe, and a time in between that, I can't recall the date, where they had the flooding. Like they've stated, we've done a lot of work with the culvert underneath the railroad tracks, trying to alleviate and get that functioning better. I think we have. We've cleaned it completely out. We've also removed a lot of the sediment that was in what we would call the farm ditch and things like that downstream of it. That flows a lot better. And then on we call it the south or west side of Eastwood, we installed additional storm sewer. There's always been storm sewer there. The problem is it was, bell or butt-to-butt joint, old clay tile that was not of substantial size to handle rainfall events, especially if your outlet is blocked off. Now, the other thing that they talk about is flooding in the rear yards on the north side. That, I think, still kind of happens from time to time, but we don't see it come out towards Eastwood as much. I mean, physically, water from the ditch right behind the orthodontist office back in '93, between there and '04, water would actually flow out of that ditch out towards Eastwood, and you could see physically water flowing into people's basements, right through their basements windows. So I don't think that's going on up there anymore, but we do get some rear yard flooding still.
And I was not referring to a flood in 2014. I was referring to the city coming in and digging up one side road and putting in all new storm drains in 2014.
I think that was 12.
No, it was 2014.
2 years ago.
Yeah, it was,
It's 16 now. It was the summer, yeah, summer of 14.
yes. So that's when the city came in to fix the problem. So I guess the point I'm trying to make is any damage caused by flooding prior to that date should be the city's responsibility to repair.
I'm ready to vote. I'm ready to vote.
I think there's, you want one more? You're good.
Sure.
So just
Good evening, everyone. My name is Thomas B. Hampton. My friends call me Doug. I own the property at 309 Eastwood Avenue. The city recently marked our sidewalks with white paint indicating needed repairs, and that property owner will be required to pay for such repairs. My sidewalk has been underwater every time it rains for many years. I've been there 38 years, so I know a little bit about the history. But our sidewalk's been underwater. Oh, yeah, and not to mention the recent installation of the new water line. I think it's 2 summers back, and all the heavy equipment being used had some effect on parts of my sidewalk, particularly around where the new fire hydrant was installed. The water line and sewer grading have stopped. Before, I had no grading whatsoever. There was no access to water runoff whatsoever. Whatever came down, it was there, and my sidewalk area was lower than most anyway. Now I have a new grading, and it's bigger than all the others were, and so on, and I have no problem whatsoever. It really fixed my problem. Have stopped the water from covering my sidewalk when it rains. I'm here to appeal the decision of making residents responsible for paying for these repairs, when the city, in my opinion, is largely at fault for much of this. The water freezing and thawing over the years, shrinking and expanding concrete, you know who's going to win that battle every time. The freezing water. The city allowed the homes to be built like in mid-50s this began, be built and watch the sidewalks flood with every rain for many years. And like I say, it's pushing 39 years now. And, you know, this problem has been evident, I think, people who are in that business, should be aware that there was a problem a long time ago. With every rain for many years, inadequate, due to inadequate drainage. Now they want me to pay for their negligence. And this is what I'm appealing. Thank you much.
Thank you.